What's going on today, guys? All right, so today what we're going to be doing is getting my gardenia on a stake. This is a Philodendron Goldiana. It looks a lot like the Philodendron Painted Lady, if you've seen. I do love the fact that this plant is just the color greens that's in it. It gives you a dark green, light green, all kind of. See if you can get that light. Push it a little bit. But so. I want to get rid of this pot because I feel like this is the perfect size for it. However, I am going to be putting this plant into a self-watering container and the pot size is around this, to be exact. You all have seen me use these before. They're just self-watering containers. You can get them from Amazon. I think I got these came in like a 6-pack for maybe $34. It might be a little bit cheaper. Don't quote me on that. But the reason why I love these self-watering containers is because they help people like me who forget to water or overlook watering on certain plants based on where I'm at. They don't run dry. And as long as they don't run dry, we don't have to worry about no leaves being flopped all the way over or dying off. And the plant continues just to thrive and get bigger and better. So the first thing you actually want to do is have you some trimmers. And the reason why you want that is because take a look at your plant and decide what side is going to be the front and what's going to be the back. I can clearly look at this with this leaf being gone and see that this plant is facing towards this way right here. Like this is the front of the plant and clearly this is the back of the plant. So since I want it to grow, I want to make sure I place it behind so it can grow up on that. First thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is get rid of this leaf that I don't need anymore. So I'm going to come in here and cut. With this right here, I'm trying to cut as close to the base as possible because it's just a leaf that's coming off. And if I can do that, it'll allow that stem to just focus on a whole new one just to kind of push out a little bit faster. Next is we're going to have to do a size up because although I want to use this, I have to make sure that it's going to make sense. Because if I get in here and this root system is all the way down here in full, then of course this pot may not be big enough. Now I'm just going to focus on cutting this side of the container because it seems like this plant is stuck to it. So I don't want to pull the roots all the way up from the bottom. I don't have to, but let's just see what's going on here. And filling this soil, this plant, get the needs. Okay, so there we go. I'm not a big fan of the perlite size. I prefer my mix to be a little bit more airy. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm just going to gently knock off some of the excess soil on here from the old pot, but I'm not going to worry about getting all in there. Like this is pretty good right here. I'm going to use mine because my pot mix is a lot more airier than this. And although this plant was thriving in here, it is going to be in a self-watering container, which can probably hold moisture a little bit longer in comparison to what's in here when I water it. So I just want to make sure I don't suffer any type of root rot or anything like that. All right, so in my mix, I like to use a potted mix, which I told you about the black gold mix that I use in here. And just have some orchid bark, and I like a little bit size 3 perlite, which I'm about to add some in here right now. This is a size 3 perlite that I'm talking about. Pretty decent size. So mix this in. I like to make sure my mix is very chunky. We don't get root rot around here much. All right. I like the way that looks in there. What about now? I did this. All right, so we got our chunky mix right here. Put a little bit at the bottom. I won't put too much because of the roots. And see, remembering that placement was everything because now all I have to do is go around here and just build instead of trying to reposition and all of that. But it sucks doing all that. And I didn't mean to put this white base at the bottom yet because all I'm doing is getting a little bit of extra soil in there that don't need to be in there instead of keeping it clean with water. So when I take it out, I'm going to rinse it over again. And I should have used a repot in that. But again, I didn't think it was going to make as much mess as I was making. I don't know why. And I really wanted to get this video to you guys because some days I'm able to get a little bit more time in, and I can actually do some recording. And I try not to be in the same clothes all the time, but sometimes I really do have 3 or 4 things that need to be done around the room, and today's the day to do those 3 or 4 things, so I have to hit record. But when I stop to go change clothes and all that, I lose momentum, and that's not what I want to do. Next, have you a zip tie or some type of graphing tape you've seen me use before? You can use something like that just to get the plant around. Now they have a soft side and a hard side, so make sure that soft side is what's touching that stem. I originally have it for, and the good thing about orchid bark and perlite is now when I'm packing this pot, I'm not necessarily packing it full of something like soil, which is going to hold a lot more moisture. It's just something airy that the water's just going to pass through orchid bark and perlite. It's just going to run over. Which is why a lot of times people switch to almost soulless type of plant mix. I haven't got that confident enough to do that yet, so we'll see about it later. Maybe it could be an experiment. But for now, I'm going to go with what I know, and what I know is I can share. So this right here is the Philodendron Goldiana. It's already in here on the moss pole. The only thing left now is just to put some water in it, which we're here, so we're going to do that together as well. All right, so quick little information about the Philodendron Goldiana. It is a philodendron. It does not like a lot of moisture in the soil. You know, any philodendron, they can get a little angry about that. They are very easygoing plants. You don't even need to have grow lights for them as long as they have some type of light to come in. A little bit gets a long way done for them. Drop that out. As far as feeding the plant and fertilizing, a philodendron really doesn't need to be fertilized the way that people do them. Now, of course, fertilizing them and feeding them is going to make your plant 2 or 3 times better. So although I'm telling you, you don't have to do it, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's just you don't have to do it because these plants are built to survive those hardships and things like that. Not telling you not to feed your plant, just saying that they aren't as sensitive, they aren't as needy as some of the other plants that are out here, which are one of the million reasons as to why I love them so much, is because it gives people like me the confidence to believe that I can grow any plant, which I know that's not the case, but I feel like it. I water this Philodendron Goldiana probably once a month, if that. Now, it is the winter time, so you do have to take that into consideration if the weather did change. But still, even in the summer months, I was only watering this plant probably twice a month, if that. And that was just because I was watering the other plants around and didn't want to have it feel left out. So, very easy plant, low water requirements, low light requirements. And you're going to be able to get something like this. I think that that's a deal. All right, so, I got a little leaning going on here. Where we going, buddy? I know that you're not your pot, but still. All right. If you've seen the Golden Pothos video, remember we was using this mix. And it's the same day, same time, so I'm just running through it right now. But what I did was just take a little quarter part of this top right here and just pour it into a full batch of these. I don't know the exact size measurements of this, but I would probably say maybe 32 ounces. So I'm taking a quarter of a cap and 32 ounces of water, and that's my mix. And I just water the plant thoroughly. So if it's a small plant, I'm still pouring a lot. If it's a big plant, I'm still pouring a lot. I'm just making sure that the water is passing through, as you'll be able to see right now. So you want to make sure that you have a good water flow in here and not just on one side. Now, this is going to be a little bit difficult because it is in a self-watering container, so the holes are a little bit different. Like I believe mine at the bottom have like little slits instead of actual holes. But as you can see, that water's passing through there. So it's not a problem there. Now, what I do with self-watering containers, for the very first time, I do water from the top, and then of course the rest of the time I need to do water, bottom watering. I monitor to see how much actually passed through just to make sure that I don't put any extra water here at the bottom, then put water here, just place this here, and now it's this much water up here. Like, that's not what it's designed to do, and the plant's gonna rot because, I mean, it's not gonna go through that much water. So it's important to just kind of just monitor your plant, just kind of see how it feels from the top, because I do have some of these in self-watering containers, and the moisture just doesn't get to them fully, 100%. They're not dried out like they used to be anymore, no, but I've noticed that some of them, like my monstera right here, even though it does good with the water at the bottom, I notice that the leaf starts getting real crispy when the top of the soil is completely dry. So sometimes I'll put a little bit of water in, or if I just have my mister, I'll just mist the top, because this is a very airy mix. You know, that water goes to there pretty fast. So although water may be down there at the bottom, because I have these extra things in here to make this mix a little bit more airy, the pot may not be able to recognize and understand that all the way, because it's not in a regular type of soil in which it's used to. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're using your self-watering containers, that when you start adding stuff to your mix that the pot may not recognize, then you could get different outcomes. But that shall not be the case with this. And here we go, right here, the Philodendron Goldiana. And as always, I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And you know, when you're growing with Sean, there's always something to learn.